Welcome to another episode of A Moment of Tiki, coming to you from the Lagoon of Mystery, my home tiki bar here in Central Texas. Over, the past 60 episodes or so, I have made a number of lights for my tiki space. It started off very simple with the shades to go over the lights on my fans here in the Lagoon of Mystery. I had found that one rattan table lamp and I repurposed it and made it into a hanging rattan lamp. I've done several different iterations of the glass fish float light. I've done a tapa drum lamp. I've done quite a few lamps. I did the seashell lamp. Each one has been progressively more complicated and progressively more challenging, and that's partly on purpose because I wanted to challenge myself and stretch my skills. But many people starting out aren't ready for that. They're not ready to pour resin. They're not going to drill seashells. They certainly don't want to drill glass fish floats. It can feel overwhelming. So today I'm going in the opposite direction. I am going to show you how to make one of the simplest tiki lights imaginable. Okay, I was at a thrift shop the other day and found this. This is little bamboo strips made into a wastebasket. That's all it is. Very cheap. I picked it up for $8. I saw this and immediately thought, this is going to be a lamp. And it's going to be a very simple lamp. It's not going to take a whole lot of effort to convert, and it's going to look perfectly at home in the Lagoon of Mystery, and it's not going to cost a lot either. Okay, so right away we've invested $8. It's got little bamboo weave on the bottom, so it's not a solid bottom, so that helps us out immediately. I have here, this is just a regular light socket. Notice it's a E12 Edison medium base, so it takes regular sized light bulbs. That's different from most of the other lights I do. I use the candelabra base, which takes much smaller C7 or G20 bulbs. So we have this, and this costs, $5, something like that. And I have a piece of scrap wood. This, a few cents. It's an offcut from one of my other projects. I don't remember what the project was, but I don't throw out very much stuff. So I have this. It fits. It's going to fit right in here. It's going to serve as the anchor for this. Now you see this socket has two prongs on either side. I am going to mount it on here. So I have a black pin to mark the location right in the center where each of these prongs intersect with the wood, basically getting the distance between the two established. Now I'm taking my drill and, however much you want to spend on a drill, hopefully you have one available. If not, you can get some pretty good deals at pawn shops. You don't have to buy new. And I'm using a fairly large bit because I want these little nipples on the socket where the wires come out to be able to insert into this piece of wood base. So putting right here. Well, folks, I screw up too. With the holes, I made the second hole a little too far apart, and this wouldn't set in there, so I had to waste some time with my drill enlarging the holes. But I think we are now, we got it, so it will sit in there flush. So 2 holes right there, the wires come through, And now I am going to get some epoxy and secure it in place so it doesn't slip or fall or slide, or any of the weight of the bulb put any stress onto the wires that are coming out the backside. So you'll notice that the wood is bright yellow, yellow-white where I cut it out, and so is the sawdust. That's because that's the color of the scrap wood. I took some basic walnut stain, which is kind of my go-to, and stained this simply to darken it. So when it is inside the lamp, there isn't going to be any very light color in there to draw the eye. It's going to be dark. It's going to blend in with the already chocolate-covered bamboo. Obscure, unobtrusive, out of sight, out of mind. That's the whole approach. Okay. It is time to do the resin. I'm going to use the resin to secure this in place so it's not loose and falling around. Because this is light and the bulb is light, I don't need a whole heck of a lot of epoxy. I said resin, didn't I? I meant epoxy, although I guess they're related. You folks have seen me do this before. You don't need close-up of me mixing the epoxy. The epoxy and then the hardener, activator, catalyst, whatever. Squeeze out equal amounts. Stir them together until the white and the black make a uniform gray. Okay. So I'm taking a nice glob right here and I am placing it on the wood. Add a little more just because I have it. Okay. Take the socket and the wires. I'm going to thread the wires through and set it right down deep into the space that I have. And we're good to go. I'm gonna let this fully set and cure and then come back to finish up the light. See you in a few. And we are back. It's been a couple of days. The resin has completely cured and the light socket is securely fastened onto my wooden base right here. Now it's time to wire this sucker up. So we're going to take two end wires coming from this and use this handy wire stripper. Okay, we have the neutral and the positive. I'm going to pull off a section of this lamp cord, which is just basic cord, and there's not really enough here for more than one, so I'm just going to use the entire remaining length. Take my knife and slice right down the middle so I can separate these two. Now I'm going to strip an equal amount from each of these. Are not solid, so they're multi-strand copper, so I'm going to twist them so they're easier to work with. I'm going to determine which is neutral and which is positive. Neutral is the one with a bunch of little ridges along the side. That's always neutral. I'm going to pair it up with the white line, and I'm going to take my twist right here, right it over the top, and I am going to twist it and twist it and twist it until all of the wire is knotted tightly. Now I'm going to do The same thing with the positive, right here. Now for the final step, taking black electrician's tape and wrapping them tightly. Here we have it. Now, I'm going to take this wire and thread it up through the wastebasket. Okay, that looks good. Now, to secure and stabilize the anchor into the basket, we're going to use zip ties. Again, super cheap, super simple, and if you're concerned about this sort of thing, it makes the trash can revertible to a trash can from a lamp. It's not a permanent one-way conversion here. So, slip the zip tie in here. And zip it tight. And repeat. Now I'm going to install the hanging apparatus, which is going to be this chain, and to anchor the chain I'm going to use these little eye screws into the wooden frame anchor that I have on there. So I'm going to drill a pilot hole on each side. And then screw these little suckers in. Since the basket doesn't weigh very much, the entire light assembly does not weigh very much. These eye screws do not have to bear very much weight, and they will work just fine. With the screws securely in place, it's time to install the chain. I have 2 pair of pliers like I've done before. I have wrapped the ends with black vinyl electrician's tape so they do not scratch the metal of the chain as I install it. Just loop it through there, pull it through the hoop, and I use the plier to squeeze it back into position. And there we go. Almost ready for installation. We got one step left to do to ensure the best possible effect for our light. I need to use this interfacing I got to create a diffuser, a diffusion layer along the inside of the light. So the lighting is spread more evenly and you can't see the actual flicker bulb inside. Measuring the lamp, it's about 19 inches deep, and it's got a circumference of 28 inches. So I'm thinking strips of interfacing 19 inches deep by 7 inches wide will give me 4 that I can paste in the inside and achieve the effect that I want. Now, this interfacing is 15 inches, which is not quite enough. So I'm going to have to cut 19-inch lengths And since 15 inches, 15, 16, so it's going to be 7.5. That's going to be close enough. That'll give me a little bit of overlap. Mark right here, 19. Mark on this other side over here, 19. And the halfway mark, 15, so that would be 7 1/2. Mark at this end. Seven and 1/2. It's all the way down. Take scissors and cut, cut, cut. I've got my 4 strips of diffusion material cut out, and I'm going to put the rest aside for the next time I need to make a light. This Pelon fusible shear weight interfacing I got from Walmart in their fabric section. I paid like $4 for it. Works great. But I don't want bright white interfacing showing through the gaps in the bamboo of the lamp. So what I'm going to do is tint it by applying a coat of amber shellac. Amber shellac is like, you know, the Tiki home bar builder's version of duct tape. I mean, it's adds patina and aging to anything. So it's soluble in alcohol, and just paint it on just like that. And it will color usable material with a nice amber color. There we go. Nice and ambery. And because it's alcohol based, that will flash off over the next hour, and it'll be dry and ready to glue into the lamp. See here that the interfacing has dried. It's nice and stiff. It's a good amber color because the shellac is completely cured, and it gives it really effective translucent quality. So next we are going to use handy dandy spray adhesive and spray one side, and then I'm going to reach in here and lay it down. The way this is going to go, I'm going to overlap on the inside. So there's 4 pieces, and they're going to overlap and go all the way around on the inside, not on the outside. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. So I have one side, then one side, and I can fill in the gaps on the margins. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. If you really like what you've been seeing here on A Moment of Tiki, please leave a comment or maybe even share the video to your feeds. What this does is make it easier for others to find A Moment of Tiki. And if you do that, I will be grateful. Mahalo. Now, I know I said that this was the final step just a little bit ago, but I got to thinking. And I know with me that's always a dangerous thing because I can't leave well enough alone, and I did promise this is going to be simple, so consider this an optional step. But it bothered me that we had an open hole here at the bottom where anyone walking underneath would be able to look up and see the flickering light bulb instead of maintaining the illusion that it's an actual flame in there. So I went to Walmart and picked up this 16 by 20 poster frame for like $6 something. And these I don't care about. The reason I got this was for this. Plexiglass is relatively costly as far as lamp making material goes. And so I found this really thin, flexible type is fairly cheap when you buy it as a part of a poster frame, and it's very useful, specifically in this case because it is bendy and flexy. I remembered when I made those tiki shades for the tiki bar here in New Braunfels, I was troubled by the opening underneath so you could see the light, and so I took this type of plexiglass and made some inserts for that, and that's what I want to do here. So I'm going to take this lamp, position it here on the corner, take a magic marker, Sharpie, and run the outline all the way around. Okay. Now, the rim here is, a significant amount different from the diameter, the perimeter. So I'm going to need to compensate for that if I'm going to make it fit in here. So I'm going to measure. And just for giggles this time, maybe we will go metric, huh? And the rim along the bottom is just about a centimeter. For US, it's a little more than half an inch. So what I think I'm going to do is mark that difference along the perimeter, so I have a little bit of a guide. Now in this, we want to make sure we don't take too much away, because if it's not wide enough to, the lamp has a tapered end, so the insert is going to be slightly wider than the taper, so it hangs right at the base. So if we make it too narrow and it falls right out, then we're out of luck. So I'm going to mark it a little less than a centimeter all the way around. And that is where I'm going to make my cut. Because past experience has shown me that using scissors or tin snips or any kind of cutting implement will cause this plexiglass to crack, I'm going to use my Dremel with this cutoff disc on here, and I'm going to use it to saw through the plexiglass. The friction will cause the plexiglass to melt as well as abrade, and it is pretty effective. So always wear eye protection, and technically these are glasses and so they're not that much eye protection, but shh, don't tell anyone. Okay, here goes. And you want to make sure to make your cut on the outside of the line. If it's too big to fit, we can always come back and trim more off, but if you make it too small, you can't add more back on, so be cautious when you do this. All right, here we go. And I'm going to take some sandpaper and just rub the edges to de-rougify. Rougify it some, but first I want to see how closely I got to the proper size. And, you know, pretty close. Pretty close. I have a little bit down here that I need to trim, but overall I say we are almost there. All right, yay! I have got it to where it fits nicely and securely and stably inside. Now, obviously, I don't want this to be just a clear plexiglass. That doesn't do anyone any good. So I have pulled out the scraps of my old Samoan tapa, and I am going to use this on there. It's going to be pretty cool, I think. Okay, that is quite good. And this is some of the scrap pieces that's in less than great shape, so I'm going to position it right on top. Excellent. Now, this dries fairly quickly and sets. I'm going to trim out and there we go. This turned out very nice, and now the last step is to insert, bend it, slot it in here. Hopefully it'll be as cooperative as it was before. And I think here we go. Ah, yes. Excellent. Yay! We have a winner, and the lamp is finished. So this was probably the cheapest lamp I ever put together. $8 for the bamboo wastebasket, $8 for the flicker bulb, a couple of dollars for the socket, chain, scrap wood, zip ties I already had, $4 for the interfacing in here. I mean, this lamp was put together for like $25. And much of this, like the plexiglass that I bought, spent $6 on, I'm going to have that for my next lamp. So the cost goes down even farther. I'm pretty thrilled with it. Let's get this thing installed and see how she looks in action. And here it is. It looks just as cool as I hoped it would. I'm really thrilled with how this bargain lamp turned out. It just goes to show that you don't have to spend $100 on a glass fish float or $50 on resin and seashells to get yourself a nifty looking tiki light. This went really quickly. It took me in actual time about a week start to finish, but honestly, this could be done in a day. I could have done it far shorter amount of time if I didn't have to stop every so often and reset the camera and set up shots. So right there. Were I doing this lamp to sell commercially, I'd make a few changes. It'd be a little bit more expensive to do, but as it is for my home enjoyment, it's perfect. And I hope you can take inspiration from this build and make your own tiki light for your own tiki space, and just let your creativity run wild. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can do it relatively inexpensively. The only limitation is your imagination. So until next time, from the Lagoon of Mystery, aloha.
Well, if you ever feel lonely and you haven't got a friend, you feel downhearted and that, you rope in and to get yourself together and head for a place I know. It's a little German town with a Spanish name, and once you go there, you never be the same, and it's a whole lot cleaner and safer than Mexico. Well, it's 90 miles from Houston, 120 from San Antonio, and once you hit the city limit, you don't have to be alone. Every traveling salesman that's on the road, every trucker that's carrying an overload knows a boom in a little bird they call a grain. If your ever loving woman won't treat you right, and your nights get longer and your pants get tight, then get yourself moving and get ready for a change. Some fella said money can't find the love, but I know it could be. Speaking of that classic country town they call a grain. Well, it's 90 miles from Houston, 120 from San Antonio, and once you hit the city limits, you don't have to be alone. Every traveling salesman that's on the road, every trucker that's carrying an overload knows a booming little bird they call a grain. So if you got a little money and you feel uptight, go to LaGrange and they'll treat you right. Just stop at the filling station, give them half a chance. And they'll give you directions to a little retreat with a grade A government inspected meat, and they'll send you to the famous chicken ranch. Well, it's 90 miles from Houston, 120 from San Antonio, and once you hit the city limits, you don't have to be alone. Every traveling salesman that's on the road, every trucker that's carrying an overload knows a booming little bird they call a grain. Every traveling salesman that's on the road,
Honey, that is a little country place out there. The people's tried to make it into something that it wasn't. Just a little country whore, that's what it amounted to.
Yeah.